Okay, welcome to B100. Welcome to a new semester here at BYU Idaho. Wanted to take a few minutes and talk about this class and some of the more frequently asked questions that students tend to have at the beginning of each semester. And so I will walk you through this presentation and then show you the classroom as well, and where you can find some of the information that you need. So first of all, who am I and what is my role? Well, I am Brother Koenig. I live in Arlington, Texas. I've been teaching online classes for BYU Idaho since the fall semester of 2009. So what is that, about 5 years or so? And I've taught Business 341, which is a marketing class. I've also taught Business 101, which is a business orientation class. There's a simulation program, and there some of you may have taken it. And then I teach B100. And this is probably my 6th or 7th semester that I've been teaching B100. And I've seen the class evolve over the semesters that I've taught it. And one of the things I've realized is that this class is a lot different than any other class that I've taught. And I suspect it's probably different than most classes you might have taken as well. And I'll go over that in just a minute. By profession, I'm a marketing and market research consultant. I've been working in that field since March of 2000, so about 15 years that I've been involved in marketing and market research. I've also worked in sales prior to that. I ran my own consulting company for a little bit of time over the years as well. As I mentioned, I live in Arlington, Texas. My wife and I have been married for 18 years, and we have 4 children. The oldest is 15, the youngest is 8, and we're very happy to be here in Texas. I am originally from Maryland. My wife is originally from Oregon, and we met in Idaho at Ricks College, and so that's how two people from opposite ends of the country meet. So what is my role in this? Well, as I mentioned, this is a different class than what other classes you might have taken will be. And the reason for that is because most of what you have due, 50% of your grade is due at the end of lesson 9, and another 15 to 20% of your grade is due at the end of the class. So there isn't a lot of gradable work up front, and so therefore you won't be getting a lot of feedback from me in terms of your work until the very end. Now there are some discussion groups, there's a few other little things that we're going to be doing, but for the most part, my role in the beginning is to facilitate the class, to help you understand what needs to be done, to go over some of the weekly assignments, and to encourage it and to motivate you, and then to give feedback as necessary, especially at the end of it, or at the end of that lesson 9 there. Okay, so what exactly is B100 all about? Well, I'm not going to read to you what the course description says. Hopefully you've already seen that. I'm not going to read to you what the syllabus says. Hopefully you've already done that. But essentially what B100 is all about is it's designed to give students a brief overview of the business program at BYU Idaho, as well as what a career in business is all about. However, there's one more element to it, and that is the idea of what it means to build up the kingdom of God in whatever you do, whether or not you choose to stay a business major or you go another route. Ultimately, what you'll find is that there is a lot of church-related material, church-related talks, books, videos, things like that, all woven through this course. So really, if it were up to me, I would call the class an introduction to business and building the kingdom of God. But I think you'll see as you go along what we mean by that. The other thing, too, that I found with this class is that students are at all different aspects of their career. There's some students that are just starting out, that have just finished high school, even in their first semester or second semester of college. And I've had students that have been almost about to retire, and they're simply going back to school because they always wanted to do it. And so the degree of experience in the workforce, particularly in business, varies. And so we try and do some things to keep that flexibility going as well. And so what I want to do in this class is to go over how you can make it work regardless of where you are in your career. Have the syllabus in front of you, or if you've read it, you might be a little concerned that we're asking you to read the book called Return by Elder Hales. Now, I already mentioned that this is a little bit different in terms of what you may or may not have experienced in previous classes, and that we really are about business and building the kingdom of God. And so, yes, you have the right textbook. It is called Return. It's by Elder Hales. There is a lot of little stories in there. Some of them are business related, some of them aren't, but I think you'll see by the end of the semester how it all ties together. I've had students every semester that I've taught this class, at the very beginning, they don't quite get it. They don't quite understand why we're reading this textbook. Some of them even feel a little bit cheated. But for the most part, by the end of the semester, especially lessons 8, 9, and then 10 through 12, it starts to click. So just bear with us, it does work. So what's a typical week like? Well, a typical week is different probably than what you might expect. Ultimately what you're doing here is you're building up to put together a portfolio of all your work throughout the semester, and that's due at the end of lesson 9. So what I do each week is I'll say, here's what you should be working on. Now, with the exception of discussion guides and discussion boards and quizzes and your weekly reflection, there really isn't anything that has a set due date. So if we encourage you to work on something with career leader assessment, it doesn't have to be due that week, but the idea is to break this up and to allow you to work on this, several parts of this each week over the next few weeks, so that you're not rushing to get everything done. So what you can expect from me is at the beginning of each week, I will send an email as well as a podcast very similar to this, explaining what needs to be done, or at least what should be done, and showing you where things are, and then giving a brief overview of that lesson as well. Okay, so still, despite that explanation, despite what it says, I always get students who say, so things are due each week but not really due. I'm kind of confused. Well, again, with the exception of the weekly reflections, an occasional quiz, an occasional discussion board, there really is not anything that's graded each week. And so what we're doing is we're helping you to get this done. We're helping you to break this massive project up into little pieces. So, and you'll see what I mean when I show you the board here. So some of you may know somebody who was in B100 in the past. In fact, some of you may be in B100 having not done so well in the past. And you may have heard some things about the portfolio, and you wonder if you should be worried. I don't think so. I really don't think anybody who takes this class needs to be worried about the portfolio. Yes, it's worth 50% of your grade. Yes, if you don't do it, you're going to fail the class by nature of the fact that it's worth half your grade. But you do not need to worry about it, especially if you stay on target. It's going to work out. And so, no, don't worry about it. Now, if you're coming up on lesson 7 or lesson 8 and you haven't done much with the portfolio, you might want to be worried. But until then, you don't need to worry. Okay, so a little bit more about the portfolio. And you might see this if you're looking at the syllabus or at the portfolio overview. One of the things that you may have heard or read is that if you do everything on the portfolio, you still can't get an A. And if you're asking that, I'm telling you, yes, you are missing something. Here's how it works, and you'll understand it when I show it to you on the screen as well. But essentially, there are some required elements of the portfolio. There are some things that you absolutely have to do, and if you do all of those required things, then that is worth 85% of your portfolio grade. The other 15% of your portfolio grade is a little bit more flexible, a little bit more up to you. And so there's the basics, and then we're giving you 15% more, 15% of your portfolio. We're allowing you to choose what you want to do so that it's relevant to you within some boundaries. So basically, if you do everything that is required, that is essential, you'll get at most an 85%. However, some of the optional activities then give you a chance to get 15 more points on your portfolio. So, hope that makes sense, and I'll explain it here in just a minute. Okay, now also looking at the portfolio, what you're going to see is that some of the things might not apply to you. So there's some students who feel like some of the activities on the portfolio are more designed for students who are just starting out in their career, whereas they might be more established and they feel like it doesn't really apply to them. So the answer to this is yes, you still have to do it. However, there are many aspects of it that we can work with and we can tweak if something isn't going to be applicable to you. I'm not about just giving you busy work. I want this to be relevant. I want it to be, and it should be, a very powerful learning tool for you. But therefore, if it doesn't totally apply, I can help you out with it. Okay, so looking at the syllabus, you might say, this seems like a lot of work for a 1-credit class. Yes, it is a lot of work for a 1-credit class. However, there are a few things to keep in mind. First of all, lessons 10, 11, and 12, as well as week 13, so the week of the final, you're putting in maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes a week. And so you can think of it this way, the class is very front-loaded. Probably by the end of the semester, you would have put in about the same number of hours that you would put in if you were taking a 1-semester class where something was due every single week all the way up through the end, including a final. So it seems like a lot of work just because there's so much work up front, but there isn't as much work at the end. I hope that makes sense. The business department is aware that it is a lot of work for a 1-credit class. Students, as well as some of the online instructors who have taught this class, have lobbied to make it worth more credits, but it is what it is. Now, if it makes you feel any better, I don't think it will, but it's a 1-credit class for the instructors as well as for the students. And so, as an instructor for BYU Idaho, I get paid per credit hour. So I'm putting in a certain number of hours, which may or may not be what other professors who teach 1-credit classes also put in on their class. So if it's a lot of extra work for you, it's also a lot of extra work for me. So that can make you feel better. But again, I don't think it's as bad as what it might appear. Okay, so what is my philosophy on teaching at BYU Idaho? Well, like I said, I've been doing this for about 6 years. I don't claim to know everything. I still have a lot to learn. I learn a lot each semester from students, from my colleagues. I learn a lot from the feedback that you give, both at mid-semester and at the end of the semester. And so I by no means claim to have a corner on the market for teaching at BYU Idaho. But here's my philosophy. I want you to succeed. I do not want you to fail. I do not like failing students. I am here for you to succeed. It's my belief that all of you are A students. All of you have the potential to earn an A in this class. And until you prove to me otherwise, you're all A students. And so I want you to succeed. I don't want you to fail. I understand taking classes online. Sometimes life happens. Sometimes technical difficulties get in the way. If you let me know, we can probably work through most things. Now, the portfolio is due at the end of Lesson 9 at 11:59 p.m. on the Saturday of Lesson 9. And I cannot allow late assignments except for with technical difficulties. So that's the only thing that I can't give on. If you are taking this class on campus, you would be required to turn in your portfolio by 5 o'clock at the business department. If you get there at 5:05, the door is locked. And so they want us to keep that same approach. So other than that rigid standard here, I want you to succeed. I'm going to help you do all I can to succeed. Most of my students pass the class. I give very few Fs each semester, and when I do, it's because students just stop working. And I'm going to try this semester even harder. If I notice that students aren't progressing, if I notice that you're struggling, I'm going to try and step in and intervene there in the middle instead of at the very end. Okay, so that concludes this portion of it. So now I want to show you what we're talking about. So this is your portfolio. You can see this. This actually links to the syllabus. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So your portfolio will contain 8 essays. The 8 essays should be 12-point font between 250 and 300 words. If it's single-spaced, it's about a half a page. If it's double-spaced, it's about a page. Here's a secret. I don't count your words. If you go way over, I'm going to know. If you go way under, I'm going to know, and you're going to lose points. But you're not losing points because you're not staying within the word count. You're losing points either because you didn't give enough information or because you didn't really summarize and shore up what you were trying to say. All right. So, but I think if you really try and be concise and clear, you should be fine. So what are the essays all about? Well, there's 2 essays that you work with on your, or that you come up with on your own. The first one is your 3 substantial accomplishments in life so far. So what are those 3 substantial accomplishments? Whatever you want them to be. I've had students write about their mission, marriage in the temple, getting their Eagle Scout, getting their duty to God, getting their young women's medallion, raising children and seeing their children marry in the temple. I've seen people write about overcoming various illnesses or emotional challenges. People write about overcoming a divorce or a death of a spouse, a death of a child, death of a parent. Whatever you consider to be substantial is substantial. That's all there is to it. Why do we do that assignment? Well, really that assignment is to help you start to networking, to help you start to understand where your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and to reflect on what you've done. The other one is business and building the kingdom of God. And the essay for that is, what does that mean to you? This is probably an essay that you want to write towards the end of the semester because you're going to start to understand what it means, but it's up to you. Some students have written it at the beginning of the semester, and then they've changed it as the semester's gone on. Okay. And then you're also going to write 6 essays based upon the readings that you do each semester. And what I'll show you here in just a minute is how the class is broken up, where we show you the links and where each of these readings should be. So there's 6 of them: a disciple preparation center, a steady upward course, making a living in a life, your whole soul as an offering unto Him, how will you measure your life, and then the textbook return. And there's only certain chapters that you're required to read. You're also going to write a statement called a me in 30 seconds statement, which we'll go over. Now I'm going to back up here into Some of what I'm showing you is going to change just a little bit when the class goes live. So as an example, you'll see here me in 30 seconds. It says that it's turned in and graded during lesson 2. That's not really the case. It's not going to be turned in and graded during lesson 2. It's going to be included in your portfolio. And then the career leader assessment, I'll send you instructions on that. Industry and company analysis, again, I'll send you instructions on that as it goes along, but essentially you're going to start with a massive list of industries or companies that you want to work for or you're interested in learning more about, and then narrow it down. And this is one assignment where some students feel like it's not relevant to them if they've been working for a long time, if they've been with the same company for a long time. They find it difficult to apply the industry and company analysis to their life, and so I will help you understand how you can do that if that's the case with you. Okay. And then there's mentor interviews, and so you're required to do 3 mentor interviews who work in industries that you're interested in exploring. Just a few things on that. Only 1 mentor per industry and company, although again there is some flexibility there. If you're set on what you want to do, then we can tweak a few things as necessary. It cannot be an immediate relative or an instructor, although you can certainly use them to help you identify somebody. And then you're responsible for making that initial contact with the mentor and being on time and professional. I will say too that the mentor interviews, you want to start working on this very early in the semester, because sometimes it takes mentors a while to get back to you, or they'll say they can meet with you on a certain day at a certain time and something comes up and they have to reschedule. So after that, your resume needs to be reviewed by the Academic Discovery Center, and that is certainly something that you also want to start very early in the semester on. Your LinkedIn profile, which we're going to go over in lesson 1. All you need to do on your LinkedIn profile is to provide a link to your site so we can look at it and see what it is. And then your graduation academic plan needs to be approved by the Academic Discovery Center or your advisor. So doing all this will give you 85 out of 100 points. Now here's where you can start to earn those extra 15 points based upon what's applicable to you. So if you want to read the entire book return, that gives you 3 extra points. If you find the mentor interviews are of most use to you, then you can do some more mentor interviews and get 3 extra points. If you want to do some additional faculty interviews, which I'll show you where those are, you can get 3 extra points for those as well. So these 3 activities allow you to do some things that might help you a little bit more. And so we reserve those last 15 points for you to kind of know what you want to do. All right. So again, the portfolio is due Saturday, 11:59 p.m. of lesson 9. And then you also have down here a checklist so that you know what needs to be done and you can make sure you have turned everything in. All right, let's just take a look at where some. So you're going to start out when the class begins. You're going to be here. You'll see under preparation there's a discussion board as well as a syllabus quiz. Now look, on the syllabus quiz, I'm not about having you get hung up on it. It's really just a recheck to make sure you understand all that's on the syllabus. And so it's not designed to trick you in any way. All right, and then we'll move into lesson 1. But I'll just show you as one example. So for lesson 1, the focus of it is on networking. Here are some of the chapters in return that we recommend you read. There's a webinar on networking by Brother Steve Davis. and then you can start to review and write your Me in 30 Seconds. You'll also want to set up your LinkedIn profile. You'll want to write your substantial accomplishments essay, and then again your Me in 30 Seconds statement. Okay, so in lesson 1, what is due? All that's due here is watching the webinar, or sorry, is the weekly reflection. Once you complete the webinar, whether you do it in lesson 1 or you do it some other time, you're going to go here and you're going to take this quiz on the webinar. Let me tell you what that quiz is all about. Click Start. Did you view the webinar? Yes or no? It's really easy. You have the whole semester to view it. So if you don't do it in lesson 1, just make sure that you go back and click yes or no, because at the end of the semester I'm going to go through and give zeros to all missing assignments. And if you watched it but you didn't click this, you're going to get a 0. Now, it's not worth a lot of points because, like I said, most of your grade is based upon the portfolio and the end of the semester board of review, which is the online discussion group. And so these other little assignments aren't going to hurt your grade too much, but you want to get them done. Okay, so I hope this helps. I hope it gives you an overview of what the class is all about. Each week I'll go through and walk through each thing that has to be done, but I just wanted to give you this brief overview for now. I hope that helps. I look forward to this semester. I always enjoy a new semester, and let's get started.